welcome back to the Rugby Pod. I'm Andy Ryan, Big Jim and Goody are with me as usual, and we've got a bit of news before we start. The Rugby Pod live show at the Clapham Grand is back, and it's set for Saturday, the 26th of June.
Oh, my days. Yeah!
Tickets are currently sold out, but make sure you get on the waiting list via dice.fm in case there are any returns from people who can't make the new date. And we're hoping for a few more live shows coming up soon as well, and we'll let you know as soon as they're confirmed. Good Easter, boys.
Do you know what I did this weekend? I kept eating my tweak meals, but I also added in there a fair bit of cake. And not only was it my birthday on Saturday, and I followed the government guidelines, as I have done throughout this lockdown period, and the government guidelines suggested that if you had a birthday in lockdown, you don't have to add a year to your life. Now, I've had 2, so I'm still 39. And it was my birthday Saturday, and I had the pleasure, actually, of driving to Exeter for 4 hours on Saturday to commentate on Exeter against Lyon, and then drive 4 hours back. So we didn't do my birthday till Sunday, which was Easter Sunday, and my dad's 70th as well. So not only did I have a birthday cake from the twins, my dad had a birthday cake from me, the missus, and the twins. And there were Easter eggs, and so my calorie intake's just been horrific, let me tell you.
Hit us with a number. What kind of number would you say on Sunday? Do you even know?
I don't even know, mate. I mean, the amount of chocolate eggs that not only we got for the kids, we did a big Easter egg hunt around the garden. Mum and Dad bought them Easter eggs. Carolyn's mum and dad bought them Easter eggs. The nanny, Amanda, I won't say her surname, but she's the best lady in the world. She bought them Easter eggs. There's too many Easter eggs. There's only one place they go in. And when they've been a bit naughty, I call them Miss No Treats, Miss No Easter eggs. Daddy gets all the Easter eggs, and that's all that happens. So I reckon 10,000 in one day, quite comfortably.
Our kids ended Easter Sunday with me telling them that the Easter Bunny ain't real, because they are on to me about more chocolate. And I've gone down the process of saying, right, you're going to be sick, your teeth are going to fall out, to the point where I'm just sat there with a dram, with a whiskey in my hand, saying, the Easter Bunny doesn't exist. Beck's screaming at me. She's like, why are you saying that? I said, saying what? That the Easter Bunny is not real. I said, did I say that? Oh, I'm sorry if I said that. But yeah, we always have a fallout on these big occasions. Birthdays, Christmas, Easter. They never end. They never end with the kids going to bed, me reading Goldilocks and the Three Little Slippers. It doesn't end like that. It just ends with, like, they're screaming, I'm crying. But anyway, enough about my family, Andrew. We've just spoken about that as well. Birthday.
Yeah.
I cannot believe it's been another year, because we were meant to obviously have big celebrations for your 40th, because that's what you do. It is a milestone. I was going to say half of your life, arguably not, but it's a milestone nonetheless that we missed. We missed it.
Yeah, we did.
And I had no idea it was your birthday until stuff started popping up. Of course, it did on Instagram, and I'm like, hang on, is what's going on here? I saw the one with you sat around with Easter eggs playing for Newcastle, that meme that's gone viral with a couple of happy birthdays around it. So I was late in the day. Happy birthday, partner.
Yeah, I like that.
But
one.
Yeah, another year. Can you believe it?
I can't. And I'll be honest, Jim, that was my favourite one. I got loads of messages, and thank you to everyone that sends messages. And I actually tweeted, so we got a really nice message from someone. I put it up on social media around what we've done, the podcast and the Twitter feed and all this stuff. Someone just saying thank you. It's helped us get through what has been the worst year of most people's lives. So social media gets a bashing, right? And rightly so when it's horrific. But the amount of messages I got over the weekend was just phenomenal. So thank you to everyone. But I've got to say my favourite was yours, Jim. When you call me partner, I got a little tingle. We are partners, aren't we, Jim?
Well, partners in crime, partners in life, bad boys for life.
There we go. So
edgy.
Yeah. So turned another year older, but you're allowed to keep it at 39 because it doesn't count in lockdown. And my God, we will celebrate one day.
Bloody good weekend for it too. The sun was out. European rugby was back. Good weekend for that as well, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, we sat out in the garden for a couple of days with the kids. Took them to a park on another day. And the sun down here was just beating down on us, 14, 15, 16 degrees. But I got a tan. Got a bit of a tan this weekend. So plenty of ruggers on as well. Too much ruggers, some might say, to catch up with. Because obviously there was 8 games in the Champions Cup and 8 games in the Challenge Cup as well. So I haven't watched them all. But I watched enough to know what's going on. and some of the referees have had a shocker that we'll get to at some point. But there we go. I mean, what a weekend! And how was yours, Jim? How was yours, Jim? Because you're was it as warm up in Scotland?
What do you think? I mean, it was warm for Scotland. It was 5 degrees, 6 degrees. We've had a bit of snow. We've had a bit of snow as well. But yeah, just same old. I actually watched more rugby this weekend than I thought I might have. More because I was engaged in some of the, I was going to say the plate. Can't call it the plate, can you? Challenge Cup. The Challenge Cup. Yeah, so I watched more games in that than I kind of thought. And Leicester Connacht, I had to watch that because my mate at Leicester called me out last week, didn't he, for calling the lads idiots and stuff. So I've obviously watched the Leicester Connacht game, and I'm thinking Leicester looked very good, physical, scoring, driving lineouts, identity. Maybe I was a bit harsh calling them idiots. Then Maroney scores a try and he bows. He does this kind of curtsy bow to the crowd. And as we know, you got no fans. There's no fans there. So kind of cemented my perspective of this new Leicester team, who I'm impressed with, but maybe I was a bit harsh calling them idiots. I don't remember. Did I call them idiots?
Probably, Jim, but Spotify.
Oh, who knows? Don't listen to whatever I say. It's Spotify.
That's last week's opinions, mate. This week's is what matter.
You were at Sandy Park. Good to see Exeter beat Lyon.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it, Jim, going to a game where there's absolutely no fans and you're commentating on it, and there's no background noise, no crowd noise, nothing.
And they can hear you. They can hear you saying, "What's going on there?
Yeah,
Exeter are going to lose." I thought we did very well on commentary again. Lyon, to be fair, started very well.
They did. They went 14-0 up. It was, it was interesting. They flew out the traps, and then Exeter slowly wrestled control back. Johnny Hill, with what is turned out to be the worst lid and look you've seen in the Premiership and the Champions Cup for a long, long time, scored a couple, set one up himself in the first half as well. And Exeter, once they got over that first sort of 15, 20 minutes of Lyon flying out the blocks, scoring 2 tries, and then wrestled back the control of the game, they were never going to lose it. Lyon they've got no European pedigree really. They're a good team. They were missing Tuisova and a couple of others. And Exeter made quite a few errors, uncharacteristic errors actually, that they'll kind of be glad they've got rid of, or hopefully got rid of this week, because they're playing Leinster next week in the quarters now. But
that's the big thing. That's the thing. When I watched that game, and I always thought they were going to win, but you could see it was a bit of a struggle at the start. Is when we knew that they were going to play Leinster, because Leinster obviously went through because of China. I mean, because Toulon couldn't play. You're thinking actually from an Exeter perspective, that is probably the best game you can play because of the physicality, because they were under a little bit of pressure, because they didn't play overly well. So yeah, I was very jealous that you were there, Andrew. I was sat at home doing nothing.
No, it's good to be out of the house. Although the 4-hour drive, I mean, it's been weird, hasn't it? Because we've been locked down for over a year now, and so we haven't probably done a proper day's work for a long time where you're traveling, doing something, going back. The 4-hour drive there and the 4-hour drive back, and stood up on comms when I'm on crutches and having to hobble up these tiny little stairs to get to the gantry. I got home, my back was fucked. I was absolutely knackered. And I just thought, this must be what it's like for Jim when he drives up and back from Scotland. What are you thinking?
It's amazing. Jim? No, it's amazing. I'll be honest. Fair play to Exeter.
Yeah, they were decent. But hell of a game coming up this weekend now.
Goody, what happened with Wasps? They almost won a game, didn't they?
Oh, mate.
Andy Rowe, look at him. He's jumping on. They almost, I mean, to be fair, they did almost beat one of the best teams in terms of Clermont and the stature. But again, Andrew, I don't know why I'm piggybacking with Andy Rowe. I don't want to be horrible. They put in a good shift.
Well, they did. And Clermont, I actually, and we both spoke about it last week, I was actually a bit nervous around Clermont putting a decent whack on Wasps this weekend. But it shows how little we know about rugby sometimes, James, because Wasps should have won it. And you look back over the game, there's a few talking points. Minozzi would have scored a worldie of a try if he'd have just held it close to his chest instead of putting it down. That would have put them 14-0 up. And then Wasps' discipline. It's been a running theme throughout the year, really. The discipline at the back end of the game. They just gave 2 real stupid penalties away when they were 5 points up with about 2 minutes to play. They were in Clermont's half as well. Just no need for it. They've been pretty good defensively throughout the game. Listen, Clermont had threats all over the park, and they defended for the most part exceptionally well, played with an intensity that has been lacking in other games, if you're a Wasps fan or player or coach, having watched those games. But the big thing for me, and the annoying thing, and I love Frank Murphy, played with him at Leicester. I think he's a really good referee. And I question perhaps why Wasps didn't make a bigger scene of it. The try that Matsushima scores, the winning try, one phase before, Morgan Powers passed it about 3 yards forward to Fritz Lee, and he's burst
I didn't
through
say
it.
it.
Yeah, mate, it was so forward. It was unbelievable.
It was flat.
Mate, it wasn't. It was definitely forward, but it didn't get checked. And if I'm, maybe the Wasps boys were just completely out on their feet. Maybe no one realised it was a forward pass. I was just disappointed that didn't get checked. But, Wasps, they've just lost with a clutch kick from Cami Lopez. And a lot of people think that Cami Lopez looks like me a little bit. Slightly overweight fly half that is either sometimes really bad or sometimes okay.
I don't know if he'd be happy with that. I don't know if he'd see that as a compliment. I would.
No. But yeah, he slots the kick to win it. And it's just heartbreaking for Wasps because Clermont are a powerhouse. But again, as we've seen many times, and Jim, you've been part of those Saracens teams that have dusted Clermont when perhaps people would have thought they'd have been a lot better. They've got the big choke in them, haven't they, Clermont? And I thought that was going to be their choke. So maybe this is their year.
I don't know. I
don't think it is. But they snuck over the line at the end, didn't they? Even though it was a forward pass from Morgan Powers to Fritz Lee, about 3 yards. Frank Murphy, why didn't you check it?
Because it was flat. The thing is about Clermont, and listening to Benjamin Kaiser and chatting to him, having played against Clermont as well, when I realised how much they obviously struggle mentally with the Champions Cup or the Challenge Cup is when they won the Challenge Cup, and the celebrations around winning the Challenge Cup. I don't want to be horrible to the Challenge Cup, but I'm thinking from a Clermont perspective, like they're a team that you think should win Europe.
Yeah.
And you could see, like, I think Kaiser was crying and he was speaking after the game and the emotion around it. And it shows that there is, well, clearly there's a mental block with Clermont when it comes to the knockout games, but a team that's that big very soon you think should be winning Europe. But what do I know?
Yeah, but it's also for Clermont, it's not just about the European knockout games they've lost. They've lost a ton of top 14 finals as well. They've won, I think they've won one in the last 10 or something like that. So yeah, their knockout record across all competitions is horrific. So I was hoping it was going to be another bad day at the office for Clermont, but unfortunately they just snuck through and now they face Toulouse. So good luck with that because Toulouse are on fire.
In Bordeaux were just too strong for Bristol in the end, weren't they?
I only saw the highlights, lads. Looked all right. Gutted for Bristol's. It's all for the Prem for them this year, eh? But all I know is at the end of the game, I saw Semi lying on his back. Is he all right?
I hope so, because he's a worldie, isn't he? But some big talking points, massive talking points in that game. And Mike Adamson again, the old ref, and the TMO, Neil Patterson, Scotland, Jim. But mainly the person that needs the blame, and we've both been there, Jim, when we've been commentating on games that are in France, that are led by a French director looking for replays, and they've just got like one or two views when there's about 25 cameras there. So Bristol's are 5 points down with about 10 to go. Bordeaux have just had someone in the bin. And so you're thinking this is Bristol's time to dominate. This is Bristol's now last 10 minutes, you're going to win the game. Kane Douglas got sin-binned. Bristol's go on the attack. They're pumping away in Bordeaux's 22. Ball comes out, decent pass. Scott Higginbottom slaps the ball down with one hand. And you actually see on the replay, his fingers get sort of bent back a bit as the ball gets knocked down. What happens is the Scottish ref, Mike Adamson, says play on. TMO, play on. Bordeaux go the length of the field, score the try to go, I think it was then 29-17, and pretty much put the game to bed. And then they got another late try as well. But they go back and check it, and the French director, he basically said, no, we have no angles, no more angles to see. We just have this angle, which is not conclusive and not possible to find more. Basically, he knew it was a knock-on, and Bristol, they haven't come out and ranted and raved about how bad it was, but we can on here. It is a shocker, an absolute stinker from the It
is funny though. We don't want to be laughing on Bristol's behalf, and obviously they're not going through, but that stuff is quite funny, isn't it? Like we know that there's lots of cameras. It is and it isn't, but there's camera angles let's call him Philippe. He knows that there's angles to show, but he does not want to share. I not share the angle.
Yeah, and that's the thing though. So
it's not Mike Adamson's fault, is it?
I think him and the TMO, Neil Patterson, can take a bit of time. And you actually see his fingers bend back. So it was like a panic because the TMO's asking for more angles. The French guy's just basically having a go while saying, no, it is not possible. I cannot see this. And the only view he's given him is where, coincidentally, the Bordeaux player runs across the camera, so you can't even see anything anyway. He's like, now play on, mate. But for me, the decision then should have been, it's a slap down with one hand. It's a yellow card to Higginbottom. Bordeaux go down to 13 men for the last 10 minutes. They're 22-17 up, of course they are, but then Bristol are probably winning the game. So if you're a Bristol fan, outside of it, you're thinking, yeah, it's just classic French, typical, French director, no, not possible. But if you're a Bristol fan, you're probably absolutely raging. And credit to Pat Lam, he's not come out and really hung a TV director out to dry, or the TMO or the ref. But we can do it on air. It's a disgrace. It's a knockout game of Champions. It's a knockout game of Champions Cup rugby, and they've only managed to find 2 views of a clear knock-on that basically decides the game. So poor, very, very poor. I feel for Bristol's, but yeah, you're right, Jim. They'll learn from it because a lot of it was around their own discipline at times, but it was a game they should have won. And as soon as Kane Douglas gets yellow carded, I'm like, this is Bristol's to win. Bristol's are making the quarters. So what transpired after that wasn't quite the case, unfortunately.
And Jim, Edinburgh didn't have much luck over there either, did they?
Much luck.
It was bad luck. It was bad luck. Yeah.
Didn't have much luck. They had their pants pulled down over their head, skids showing everywhere. The dogs licked the skids, then he's put them back on the head. Scottish rugby, what's going on, Jim?
The headline should have been Edinburgh being shat on. That should have been it. Oh my God, Mill Shat.
Yeah.
It's his fault, and his fault only, that Hamish Watson has not come on. Hamish said to me, if I've got a Ravo's arm just put on us as a team, I can't come on the pod. Guinness Player of the Six Nations or no Guinness Player of the Six Nations. We've just had 50 put on us. We've had a Ravo's arm put on us. I was like, mate, it was in Paris. And there's a few things that came out of that game. Hamish Watson's unbelievable, so that is still there. Vakatawa is Vakatawa. Racing have got some young players coming through. And what else came out of that game? Do not give Curtly Bill the mic to do a post-match interview. Oh my goodness me! We played against a very good Edinburgh team. What? What's going on here, mate? Young lads coming through. They're good. Just want to get better. Who do you want out of Bordeaux and Bristol? Wow, they're both good teams. You don't know, Curtly. You know that Bordeaux are an all right team. She might have played against them once, but absolutely hammered. What can you say?
I mean, it was 80 points, wasn't it? What was the score? 80 points to 3.
No, it was 50 odd, wasn't it?
Yeah, 56 points to 3. But at one point,
we'll round it down to 40, and we'll round Edinburgh to 10.
Yeah, Blair Kinghorn did equalise to make it 3-3. So there's a positive for you. But talking of interviews, Jim.
Yeah, go on.
But talking of interviews, Jim, Cocker's interview after the game. It's like he weren't bothered. You just had your arse handed to you, Cockers, 50 odd points. And it was
but what do you do? So what do you expect though? So it's like
I thought there'd be a bit more emotion in him. It's like he's out. Is he out of there? What's happening? Is he?
It's like having your pants pulled down, Andrew.
Yeah.
But you don't have a cord. It's like they've been pulled down that many times that there's no elastic holding it in. You can't. You got to concede. It's like they're coming down either way. So, but yeah, that just shows. It's like you've got. I don't know what the playing budgets are, but you look at the quality of players. No disrespect.
Oh, mate, don't talk about wage caps and Saracens again, mate. Don't bring that up because we don't want those trolls coming back to us.
Well, you look at that Racing team on paper compared to Edinburgh. You've got Blair Kinghorn, as much as he's a good back three player, horrendously. I don't know what he's trying to do with that. Is the golfing talent is there to see? It would have been nice for Edinburgh to score a couple, but it's the power game, isn't it? That the French team has got. And they're obviously at home. I know we're kind of joking about it now. Genuinely, Hamish was meant to come on, as we know. And that's the thing, he's embarrassed by that scoreline. Not that he should personally be embarrassed. He was one of the best players on the pitch again. But what can you do against a team like Racing, who were one of the favourites to win the tournament?
Munster Toulouse was another cracker at Tolman Park, wasn't it?
Mate, what a game that was. Hell of a day on there, Jim.
That was good. And I thought Munster could have won that. That's one of the games, I don't know if we spoke about it last week. That is like when you think about a Heineken Cup game, a Champions Cup game, like them two teams are the teams that you think of. So you think of Leicester, Sarries, obviously Leinster in recent years, but going back to the old school, with Paul O'Connell, O'Callaghan, Trevor Brennan, like these lads and stuff like that. Yeah, Palouse as well. Yeah, of course. Michalak at 10.
Yeah.
Let's name some other old ones as well.
Easy Tolamaka at number 8. How big was he?
Ridiculous.
Finau Maka, his brother as well, or just beasts.
Yeah, we should do an old school one. But yeah, so that historically, you've got two teams with history in the competition. So it was Munster looked very good.
Couple of talking points though. A few talking points again.
Yeah, well, you can talk about them, but Munster off the back of losing comfortably to Leinster were probably primed in terms of physicality, similar to Exeter. They had a tough game the week before. Scoreline against Leinster didn't probably reflect the game. Leinster were significantly better, but Munster are much better now. And I thought they could have won, but Toulouse have got some quality. Well, they've got Cheslin Colby, haven't they? So,
yeah. Well, they've got two of the best players in the world in Cheslin Colby and Dupont as well at 9. And what about Labelle on the wing? What about
ridiculous?
He absolutely rinsed JJ Hanrahan in about a metre. Not even a metre. It's about 20 centimetres.
I thought JJ Hanrahan. I thought he fainted. That's what I thought happened when that happened. Genuinely, I didn't even realise he'd done the step.
Yeah, but it's fine details, isn't it? So you talk about the quality of player. So Cheslin Colby's on the ball. And if you watch actually what creates the try, Andrew Conway on the wing, Deolande's covering across, and I think Deolande would get to Cheslin Colby to make the tackle. Andrew Conway just panics a little bit because it's Cheslin Colby, half steps in, which makes it a Tillman on the edge, and then Labelle, my footwork against JJ Hanrahan. And what happens is there's actually 3 defenders in the picture and only 2 attackers. They fly through. No one gets taken out. So then it's a simple 2v1 with Dupont who goes under the sticks. Brilliant try. But it was a bit of a ding-dong. So at one point, Munster get themselves back ahead. And that was a crucial bit where Andrew Conway just kind of paused for half a second. And that split second at the top tier of Champions Cup rugby is the difference. But the other one, 23-all, right? Marchand, his try. What about the line out? It's a one-handed take. The skill's unbelievable, but it's about 4 yards, not straight. Wayne Barnes and your TMO, who's not looking at it. Like, Munster have competed.
Let it go.
Well, here's the thing. Well, exactly. But I saw Wayne Barnes, people were questioning him at the weekend, and so I've looked into it. I'm like, why are they going to Barnsley? Because he's the best ref in the world. And then you start looking at some of the Munster fans not happy with some of the decision making. You look at the line out, and you're a line out forward, Jim, of ridiculous expertise.
Specialist. Oh, thank you. I thought that was coming. I'm not just a line out forward. Specialist.
Yeah. So it's a 5 metre line out that Munster have competed for at the back of the line out, jumper on jumper, and he tapped it down with his outside hand, nowhere near straight. So it should have been a not straight. Marchand scores the try, and at that point it was 23-all. So some question marks around that as well, Mr. Wayne Barnes.
You've had a go at Wayne Barnes a couple of times in the last few weeks, Gertie.
I'm not having a go, mate. I'm just discussing and debating. I'm just, we're allowed to.
Well, Barnes is going to come back. Barnes is going to come back on his YouTube channel with his action figures, and he's going to talk about it. He's going to talk about the one-hand take. He might even talk about sending a Scotland player off and asked him not to.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it for a couple of weeks, but I might go back and watch the line out, see how not straight it was. I'll call him out on Twitter. He doesn't follow me. I ain't going to follow him. And I'm sure it will be on his YouTube show, which actually I quite like.
Yeah, if you're
Rugby for Dummies. Rugby for Dummies.
Definitely. If you get a chance, have a look at the line out. If there's ever a not straight, it's probably more so the assistant referee that needs to call that. If there's ever a not straight that leads to a try, it's that one right there.
Well, one English side who did make it through to the last 8 in the Champions Cup is Sale, and we can have a chat now with their World Cup winning scrum half, Faf de Klerk. How are you, mate?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Thanks for letting me join you guys.
Faf, we've been waiting to have you on since you won the World Cup a couple of years ago. It's class to have you. Firstly, we need to ask you, you got ball bagged by Jake Ball at the weekend. It's obviously done the rounds on social. How are you? How is the lid? I mean, it obviously made a bit of a mess for it for a few seconds. Are you okay?
No, I'm all good, mate. No, it's fine. Just a bit of a rugby incident, but no hard feelings at all.
Yeah,
Good,
definitely
good.
not. And just on that, because there's obviously another picture that's gone round from, I believe it was the World Cup, where he's grabbing you. Is there something? There's a bit of history there. Is it something that you notice, or are you just that little scrum half that goes at people, whoever you're playing against, anyway?
I don't have any issues with him. He might have an issue with me. We did have a chat after the game, and I don't think there's any animosity. But obviously, that's how the game goes. They obviously want to try and get their team on the go, and if that's one way of doing it, is to spoil the ruck for us and to stop us getting quick ball. And yeah, it just happened. I think it looked maybe afterwards when I looked at it, it was maybe a bit more serious than what I initially thought. But yeah, hopefully there's no animosity and we can just get along playing again.
Yeah, because on that, when you actually got hit, you then look at the assistant referee on the sideline. You're kind of asking him what's going on. Were you asking him just to be because you were hit off the ball when the ball was still in the ruck, or were you actually asking that, hey, I've just been belted in the head here?
No, according to me, the rule is if the ref calls ball out, the guys can have a go at the ball. You can't play the player.
Yeah.
So that was I was asking about. I was fine if he said the ball was out, then you can have a go at the ball. But I'm pretty sure you can't have a go at the player. So that was my initial thought of it. If I lifted the ball, fair play, he could have tackled me, but that's just what I was asking. So I wasn't even sure about the head contact. After I saw it on the replay, then I saw, okay, maybe there's something more to this, but the refs cleared it, and yeah, we had to play on.
Don't bother asking what the rules or the laws are. I don't think anyone knows what's going on at the minute, Faf. But what we do know is you lads were class at the weekend, and you know we've got a good relationship with Sale. You know, it's a team that me and Goody never play for, but we both love. Obviously, Simon Orange has been on before. I spoke to Al Sanderson when he first got the job. It looks like, which we kind of thought it would be with Alex Sanderson taking the reins, that there would be a spike in emotion that he spoke about. I know he spoke to you lads about it. There could potentially be a dip. But then the main thing is building that culture and building a team and a squad that can compete with anyone. You look at Sale's social media leading into that game, they thought it was the last chance saloon in Europe. I don't think that anyone thought you were going to go down there and do what you did to that Scarlets team. How good is it being in this Sale squad? It's easy to say that when you're winning, but has there been a real shift in the environment with Al Sanderson coming in?
No, 100%. I think obviously on the training side of things and getting the tactical side of things right, but I think Al's a lot to do with mentality. How are you going into the game? Are we preparing well enough on that side? He really gets into themes of things when we go up against the side, trying to really understand how they want to play, and we trying to take that away from them. And I think he's been really good with that. And also just other things like trying to make it interesting at training, have a laugh, just not be all serious. You need to have that little bit of fun side to it as well, which we really appreciate. When it goes bad or when it goes good, those type of things can't change. And just all about how you feel in training, how you feel in game time, and just try and improve on those little things.
Yeah, definitely. And I know Alex Sanderson always likes a Malbec Sunday, where he can sit back and enjoy a bit of red wine. Was it a Malbec Monday? Because obviously your game was on the Sunday and you had Easter Monday off, hopefully.
I think this Malbec Sunday thing is more than a Malbec daily thing for him. I'm pretty sure he had a few red wines on Friday night as well, watching the La Rochelle game. So yeah, I think it's more often than a Sunday. But I think there were a few beers on the bus back home. We enjoyed that, and I think then our Sale Jets team played on Monday, so he ended up going to that game as well against Newcastle. So that's great to see that he's also doing that effort with the boys not involved, showing his interest over there. So that's important to get that whole entire squad effort.
I remember playing against the Sale Jets many a time. Faf, I don't know if you ever saw me play, mate, but you wouldn't have seen them games, that's for sure. You know, with Al Sanderson, I worked with him at Saracens. I can't speak highly enough of the guy. One of the comparisons that's kind of out there is around how Rassie Erasmus has built the culture in the South Africa squad. I watched the documentary Chasing the Sun, I think it was called, absolutely amazing. And to get that insight and that kind of emotion and what it takes to motivate individuals. I see there why people would say potentially there's some comparisons. Obviously at Sale, there's a lot of South African lads, and we know that the love and the emotion is needed to manage some of the players. Is it right in saying that comparison is quite similar with Brazil now?
There's a lot of similarities, definitely. Obviously, playing for your country, you can sort of get a more, I don't want to, like a passionate side of it. Playing for your country, and we played for obviously a lot of things playing for South Africa, where over here there's not those challenges, as I can, if I can mention that. So there's a lot more to play for instance, if you play for your country. But I think in mentality side, getting yourself up for the game, making sure your teammates is up there and ready to go, and trying to get into that passion side of things is definitely similar, and similar themes to what we did at the Box. So definitely a lot more similar, but obviously you can get a bit more deeper if you play for your country, and with all the challenges that we faced during the World Cup and the people back home.
And you talk about that, and winning the World Cup was obviously huge, and we might delve into that a bit in a minute. But sort of post-World Cup, we saw a few celebrations back in South Africa, but then it was very much a lot of the players dispersed, and it was back to business with their clubs around the world. And South Africa haven't played, the Springboks haven't played since the World Cup final, which seems crazy now, obviously, due to COVID and everything that's going on. How hard has that been for you guys collectively to try and stay together? Because winning the World Cup must be, it's the pinnacle of any player's career. And you've not been able to get back together as a group to play or train again, really, have you? So it must be really hard emotionally to stay connected with those guys after achieving the highest of highs and winning it in 2019.
Yeah, definitely. There is challenges behind it, but in our age or decade, you can probably, it's a lot easier to have a chat with one of your mates. And we still, all of us on numerous groups that we still communicate on, whether it be laugh or any information passing around. So we have stayed in contact with a lot of the guys, and we obviously try and watch each other's games and try and just say well played, or you did brilliantly there, stuff like that. So we are in contact still with a lot of boys, like you said, sharing that with some of your mates, and being in Japan for more than 2 months, we really got close and really became great mates, not just playing partners, but really good friends. So just trying to keep in touch, just to check in. It's sort of just one of those things that you do if it's one of your not your rugby friends. So I think that's made it a lot easier. And now these days you can just do a video call and catch up. So it has been challenging, but really, really excited to hopefully see the boys quite soon.
Yeah, I bet you are. We, again, same as Goody, it'd be great to chat about that just after maybe we've spoken about a couple of other things. But you talk about the teamship and the South African players and how tight you guys are. We're now seeing more come over to the Prem. There's always been a few of you guys in and around South Africa, around France, playing out there. But more so, Sale, me and Goody have said if the team's struggling to go forward, just bring in some South African talent and you'll be all right. You get on the front. See, look at Leicester. Jasper Wiese's turned up to there and he's almost changed the club by the way that he plays. I know there's a couple of others in the team, but what do you say to people now that are keen to come over to the Prem and play? And because it's quite a difficult league to play in. There's games every single week. It's quite challenging, but for whatever reason, you South African lads seem really suited to the style of rugby that we play in the Premiership.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I agree with you. It's probably one of the best competitions I've been involved in, and week on week, if you don't turn up against whoever, they probably going to get pumped. So it is really physical, and I don't know, maybe they've just been blessed with amazing genes, so they're just very physical and strong. So I think that has
they have.
to do with it.
They have. Yeah. They have. I love how you say they and not we.
No. I've got a lot of things going for me, but not that part of it. So yeah, I think if the guys are back home, really enjoy the tough physical stuff. Obviously, in certain games over here, it's becomes really slow and wet, so you can sort of line guys up on defense. So you have to really be physical in your carries. And on the flip side, you can line guys up on defense. And if you have that side of your game, I think you'll adapt well here. And then also got some great coaches also that you get involved with. And you play with world-class players all around you. So I think you lift your game automatically if you're an outsider coming in, maybe you're not well known, and you're playing against international players all around you. You sort of need to lift your game, and I think that's what happens more often than not. And guys getting proper opportunities at their clubs, and probably giving them confidence to really play their game. That probably has a bit of a effect on that. But boys hit the gym quite early at school, so that helps.
Genetics, of course, because it used to be a thing where obviously the pound to the rand was massive, and that arguably was a reason. Now it's obviously not like it was a few years ago, and more lads are coming to the Prem as opposed to France. So I imagine you'd be a port of call where people would say, "Faf, what's it like playing in the Prem?" We see obviously Gloucester have got a few South Africans playing as well. Is it more if there's more of you at a club, which it obviously is at Sale? It seems to be more comfortable for lads to come.
That's definitely a factor. I think if you got an opportunity to go to two different clubs and there's a few more familiar faces at one side, you probably tend to go that way. But it's also, you need to be conscious of the fact that maybe too many isn't always great for a club environment. That's something that we've spoken about as players individually to see if that has an effect on some guys, and that's something that you need to be cautious of as well. So the players from South Africa also need to buy into the English way of life, the culture, the language. We need to invest in that as well. So it comes from that side as well. But it does, I think it definitely does make an impact. And obviously if Sale wants a certain type of player and we have contact with that guy back home, put them in touch, it's an easier way to get players here. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, probably money will talk, but that does make a bit of an influence.
Yeah, good honesty. I like that. Let's talk about culture then, because ultimately at Sale, there is probably 50-50 South Africans and English players. What culturally are you enjoying about Manchester? Is it the sunshine? Is it the rain? Is it the football? Is it Oasis? What is it in Manchester that is culturally appealing to you boys? Because you have to settle in, don't you? It's not all about just bringing the biltong over and the braais and everything. You do have to immerse yourself. And we know, good mates with Mark Quater, he's always banging on about the sunshine up in Manchester. Yeah, any time I go there, it's always pissing down the rain.
The sunshine.
The sunshine. This would have been a great little town if the weather was a bit better. We just had snow now the sun's out again. It's so weird. I think for me, coming over originally was just getting to know Manchester, getting to know the surroundings, seeing different spots was always fun for me. Starting to travel a bit. Firstly, start to travel around the UK, and then Manchester is a great city too, in terms of restaurants, in terms of live shows, and you can just go out and have a good night if you wanted to. There's a lot of things to do, and I think if you sort of embrace that side of it and not try and come over here and try and make it South Africa, because then you're never going to be happy. You have to embrace the weather, you have to embrace the cold, and try and figure out ways to make it fun for yourself. If you're going to not accept that things, you're always going to be doom and gloom if you think about what the weather's going to be like tomorrow and you can't really get up for it. So sort of found ways to make it fun, and we got a lot of great English lads at the club that showed us around since we got here. When me and John and Ross came over the first time, the boys really pulled us in and took us to the countryside, took us to shows, coffee shops that are really good, and we settled in quite quickly in terms of that. And fair enough. And then when the weather starts turning and we can have a barbecue for the boys, we put that up for them. So it's just sort of blending those cultures, but you can't just come over here and think it's going to be South Africa. You need to immerse in the culture and really enjoy that side of it as well, because you learn so many new things. Yeah,
definitely. And one thing also, your hair stayed blonde. Is that the sunshine, or is that a bit of product that's going in there?
A lot of chat about my hair. It wasn't it's the longest it's ever been, and it's a bit of color, but it's grown out about 30 centimeters. So I need to get that checked out whenever I can. I'm missing the salons a bit, mate.
Faf, can I just put something to you? If I don't know whether why you'd even want to do a bet with me and Goody, you've got no idea who we are. We know who you are. If you lads win the European Cup, is there a chance you might shave your hair off? That's kind of what Al Sanderson has told me to put to you.
this chat started today. Actually, Jono mentioned, what would you do if we cut your hair off? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to be happy, but I'm probably going to have to accept it. But I don't want to cut my hair off.
But surely, if you win the Champions Cup, it could be a thing, couldn't it? Because it's a big statement. I mean, let's be honest, the Sale social media team thought you're out anyway. So after the back of the performance at the weekend, we could say it here because, you know, there's probably 3 million people going to listen to this, that Faf de Klerk will shave his hair off when Sale win the Champions Cup this year.
Mate, I won't commit to that, but I think with enough. I don't know. If there's something. Yeah, yes, that's a big call, mate. You sprung that on me.
Well, we'll have a think about it. We'll do the opposite. Yeah, we'll do the. I was going to say,
okay. Yeah.
I'll grow it. I grow mine, but I don't know if you saw it before. It might take me a good 10 years to grow that.
Oh, good stuff. Well, let's look forward then to this weekend. Obviously, quarter-final time, La Rochelle away. Tough fixture in terms of size and power that they've got in their ranks, but also the ability around the offloading game that we saw Friday night. You must be looking forward to that because you boys love a physical battle as well, don't you? Across the park, you know, whether it's the South African boys in the squad, the English boys, you know, the Curry lads and whatever, and even AJ McGinty, 12 out of 12 tackles at the weekend. I ain't ever done that in my career.
He's got a cauliflower ear. He's got a cauliflower ear.
Yeah.
He has. Looking forward to the game at the weekend. Tell us a little bit about how this week's going to pan out for you boys.
Yeah, so obviously it's a short turnaround for us. So that's something that we're conscious of. One training day that we obviously going to lose. Today was a very more of a review day, looking at the weekend that passed, and obviously then starting to look into La Rochelle. I think a good thing was we obviously, a lot of us watched them play against Gloucester over the weekend, so that's already like sort of puts us in a good headspace going forward. So we'll have training tomorrow, and then training on Thursday will be our tough day. So I think looking ahead, it's like you mentioned, we've mentioned all those challenges that you guys just mentioned. Physical side, got a lot of skill, got a lot of personnel that's really qualified, but really skillful. So I think that's where you want to be as a player. You want to be tested against the best, and in the physical side of things, it's going to be a one-to-one battle. It's going to be one of them against one of us, and we're going to see who's going to come out on top. And that's more often than not when it's going to come down to on that game. But I think we might have a few tricks up our sleeve, hopefully going down the week to see if we can get some space. So I'm very excited for that challenge. It's obviously a massive game for us. So I think the boys are definitely be up for it.
Yeah, I imagine out of all the teams that La Rochelle arguably would have wanted after the weekend's game, it wouldn't have been you lads. It's quite phenomenal, really, how you played against Scarlets. Let's just talk a little bit about South Africa then. You mentioned communicating with the lads still and FaceTime, and obviously playing against some of the lads as well. Much communication with the management. I mean, you're watching the internationals unfold now. They're obviously the Six Nations, the Autumn Nations Cup. There's obviously a Lions tour. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we think it's in South Africa. Is there much communication with the management? I mean, we're talking it's in 3 months' time or something like that. So you've not played, obviously wouldn't have played a match.
No, definitely. Not been a lot of chat. I think the first thing they needed to sort out was where it's going to be played. And I think before they knew that, they couldn't really speak to us at all. There has been a little bit of chat to set up a few meetings going ahead. But nothing much as of yet. I think hopefully we can meet up with a lot of the coaches when I think it's a Rainbow Nations Cup is here, and a lot of teams come over, and hopefully some of the South African coaching staff will come over as well, and hopefully get a chance to meet up. But I think for now it's still just really focusing on your personal performance to do well for your club, and then hopefully get selected. But as you mentioned, there hasn't been that much chat yet. I think we know now that it's sort of 90% going to be in South Africa. So that's a positive. Well, for me, it's a positive. And so that's a first little hurdle out of the way. But I think hopefully in weeks building up ahead, we'll be in a bit more contact with them.
And you've obviously got a lot of family and friends back in South Africa. We're purely focusing on probably the UK as with the pandemic that we're going through in the COVID situation. How's it looking in South Africa? Something that I've not looked at myself. Maybe I should have done with the Lions tour coming up. But how's the pandemic been coped with over in South Africa? Is it, is there a small chance we're going to see some fans in the stadium potentially?
I'm very hopeful, just because it's pretty much all back to normal back home. What I can see and what I've heard from my friends and family, it's pretty normal. Restaurants are open. People are going to go out, enjoy their time. I think there might still be a curfew. I think you have to be at home by 10 p.m. But other than that, it's pretty open. You can do pretty much what you like. Traveling, no travel restrictions in South Africa. So hopefully that's a positive. And now with these new flow tests coming out that you can do a spot test and it gives you a result within 5 minutes. I think that's something that maybe the big stadiums can look into to maybe test guys before they go into the stadium. So as it's going now, I'm very hopeful for it, because it's seemingly opened up. It's just probably up to the UK to decide if they're going to allow their people to travel back home or not, or back to South Africa or not. Yeah.
Probably change anyway. Who knows, mate? We don't know what's going on, do we? But very jealous.
Sounds like we're in, Jim. Sounds like we're going.
Well, either way, I'm going. If I've got a quarantine when I come home, I'm going. I'm absolutely pumped. It's in South Africa. I love the country. Got a lot of friends down there. Played down there when I was younger. Obviously, watched the '97s Lions tour that kind of propelled rugby, I'd say, in the Northern Hemisphere. We talk about this in the media and between friends about the importance of the Lions tour being in South Africa. And a lot of the time when we speak about it, we speak to people, we hear things. It's to do with the money, right? So it's to do with the money that the Lions generates. I don't know if you know anything about the finances around it. And if you do, is that a reason? Is that why? Or is it just because there's a heritage and a kind of history that comes with the Lions tour coming to South Africa? Or is it the fact that the money that will generate will go into the economy?
I think that's a massive factor for South Africa, obviously. Having tourists coming over and really obviously enjoying themselves and spending some money in South Africa. So there is a massive influx, obviously, of money. So I think that is a massive reason. But I was just feeling like wherever it's going to be played, if it's in Dubai or wherever, I'll just want it to go ahead. That was my first thought when people asked me. And then just it's every 12 years you get to play a Lions tour in your country. That's sort of the tradition, and you want to stay part of that tradition. And what I've heard, I know fans really want to go over there. The players obviously also, they don't want a Lions tour in the UK. They want to tour to South Africa and enjoy that part of it as well. So I think everybody wants it to be there. And then financially, obviously, it would make sense for South Africa to have it there. It's going to be great. It's probably going to create a lot of more job opportunities, be it for a short time, but it's definitely going to help out a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go back to the World Cup then, because we can talk about the game, we can talk about other stuff, but the one thing I want to ask you about, I know Sia Khaleesi has stolen the show a little bit around being captain and what an amazing person he is, and rugby player and ambassador for the game. But the most ambassadorial thing that I saw in the tournament was you and your budgie smugglers having a beer with Prince Harry after you won it in the changing rooms. Can you just tell us what you were talking about? Was he talking about maybe moving to California then, or what was going down? Because
it was privacy.
That's the best picture. That's the best picture I've seen from rugby in a long time.
Yeah, no, not a lot really. Just like he just said, congratulate. He had a fright when he saw me first, and then I couldn't let the opportunity pass to not say hello. And I just said congratulations. He basically told the whole sky he doesn't know of a country that really deserves us more, but it needs it more. So that was just great to hear from him. Obviously supporting England at that time, and it was great to hear that from him. Really being honest and being a down-to-earth guy was what meant a lot to me. Just showing what type of person he was, and got a good photo from it. So that's always good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, did he do his buffalo off camera as well? Because I know there was a video where he wouldn't do it on camera. Did he do his buffalo off camera?
No, he didn't. Oh. No, I thought he was going to neck it, to be fair, but he didn't end up doing. But that's Frans Steyn. He's got no filter. So
I've had a few beers with him. Yeah.
Well, the thing is as well with Harry, me and Goody, I've seen him very pissed before. He said that my kilt looks like a shit version of his nan's curtains, quote unquote. And he told Dylan Hartley as well that he shouldn't be England captain because he's shit, and Dylan was crying. So it's probably better that he didn't chop the beer responsibly in the changing room. But you know, yeah, I know, mate. Prince Harry, he just wants privacy though. Faf, you know, the World Cup. Obviously, we talk about it and the documentary and the content that's arguably going to be made around the Lions tour. That, you know, there's talk of Amazon filming with South Africa and Amazon filming with the Lions. Like the profile that comes with it now. Have you been able to piggyback that after winning the World Cup again, having been playing in the Prem? I know, it just flies by. You obviously win the World Cup, all the hysteria around it, the social media, and next thing, you know, you're back playing and life's back to normal. What's life like for you when you go back to South Africa?
Life in terms of just going back, seeing family, seeing friends, trying to play golf and enjoy myself is pretty normal. But obviously, you get recognized quite a bit back home. So privacy is not a massive thing when you go home. I think if you in a group of friends and they can sort of protect you a little bit, that's always good. But I've always tried to do my part with, if somebody wants a photo or something like that. I was also a young boy once, looking at my idol, so I try and do the best I can in that aspect. But it is difficult just to do normal stuff and go to the shop. I won't say it's that famous that you can't walk around, but sometimes it does get a bit hectic, especially like in Cape Town and those places where they really enjoy their rugby. But I guess it's better that people want to have a photo with you than not want to have a photo with you. So I take the positive from it and rather than the negative.
Perfect. Right, well, thanks very much for coming on the show, mate. Best of luck for the rest of the Champions Cup and also with the Lions tour as well. Best of luck with the Springboks.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for the call. It's good fun.
It's so much better than Hamish Watson's, isn't it? It just looks like it's meant to be.
Yeah, it's the blonde highlights that he said he needs doing again. But yeah, what a lovely bloke. You know, you see him on the field and he's tenacious, and you know, we know that he gives everything for Sale and any team he plays for, and it winds people up the other way. Of course it does, because you see this little scrum half who, you know, back in the olden days, you might be able to get hold of him and clobber him a bit, but now you can't throw punches. He is the ideal wind-up merchant sometimes for opposition teams, and he's physical as well. But what a lovely bloke. Like most South Africans, off the field, down to earth, love the game of rugby, love everything they're achieving and doing, and you're very humble with it. So absolute pleasure to have him on. I could have listened and spoken to him for hours.
Should we have a look at head to the quarterfinals then?
Go on then.
Go on then, Whitfish.
Do you want to start with that Exeter Leinster game and talk us through what you think might happen there? You've given your thoughts already, Jim.
Yeah, I just think that. I think it's going to be tough. It's definitely the game, arguably. I don't know. I'm looking forward to La Rochelle and Sale now because I'm a Sale fan. But Exeter champions, Leinster, what a fifth star. What a season to do with no fans. Tough one to call. I reckon Exeter might win. You
know, no doubt they'll start with Cian Healy and Tag Furlong and those boys. They'll have a lot of their internationals back, but Exeter haven't been themselves recently. You know, the Premiership games, they've kind of squeaked through a few. You know, at home to Quins. You know, they've also changed the team for Gloucester, and then this weekend's game at Comtech, there was loads of errors, uncharacteristic errors from them as well. So that will sharpen the mind. Hard one to call. Exeter, I think Jack Noel will be back this weekend, potentially, from what I hear, which is huge news for him. Exeter, England, not so much because there's no games, but definitely the Lions, because I know Warren Gatton likes him. It'd be great to see him back again after a long while out. I'm just going to go Exeter by 5. They're going to sneak it by 5.
I'm going back on what I've said. I reckon Leinster.
Okay, I've talked you out of it.
Well, I just think of the play. But this is the thing: when you talk about Exeter, you can say it about a lot of teams they play against on paper in terms of international quality, but then the champions. God, what to do? Yeah. I'm going to go the opposite to you. I'm going to go Leinster by 6.
La Rochelle versus Sale.
Oh.
Can they back it up?
I think they can.
Yeah, they can. I think they can. But La Rochelle, when they want it, and they're good.
What about Big Willie, Little Willie Skelton?
Mate, tell the offload that. Tell Bottia that as well. I mean,
Bottia, how good is his tash? I mean, as a player, sorry.
Yeah. He's just got everything. You know, he's played back row as well, but as a centre, I don't reckon there's a centre in the world that can do what he can do. The power, the pace, the offloading game. You know,
he likes his back rubbed as well. Ronan O'Gara said he likes his back rubbed. I'd rub his back.
He does. Yeah. Imagine him and Randrunda in the centres playing against those two.
My goodness, mate.
And then you've got
you
for Fiji,
mentioned
and then you've
Bottier.
got and then you've got Nandola on the wing for Fiji as well. When you talk about units, but yeah, they've got class, haven't they?
You opened my eyes to Bottier. You were the one who said you need to see this lad play. I don't know whether I commentated on them a while ago, and then I just watched it and was like, "Oh my Bottier."
Yeah, he is quality, and they're a big team, aren't they? But any team going over to La Rochelle that needs some physicality, just look what Sale did to Scarlets at the weekend, and it was a Scarlets team littered with internationals as well, wasn't it? So they've got the power game that they can cope with La Rochelle's power. Unfortunately, Lou Diag is out for quite some time. I think he broke his leg or his ankle or something in training last week. So yeah, Sale have got it in them. I just think La Rochelle have got a little bit too much quality, an X factor.
Oh, because we've had Faf on, I'm going to go for Sale, and I love House Anderson and South Africans. So
yeah.
Oh, but what about Bottier? If he'd rub my back, no, he won't rub my back. He won't touch me. Not allowed. Sale by 3.
I desperately want Sale to win. I think La Rochelle might just have a little bit too much. So La Rochelle by 5.
Thanks, Scooty. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, producer Tim, and thank you very much for listening as well. Don't forget to head on over to Spotify and check us out on YouTube as well.
We're on Spotify, Rugby Pod.
Spotify pod.
Oh, I see what you've done there. Loved it.